Hi everyone, how are we doing? Welcome to a brand new week on 67 Hail Hail. Hopefully you're still as buzzing as me today after yesterday's brilliant performance. 5 goals, 3 important points, so much to be positive about, so much to chat about on today's video, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to bring in some of your comments. We're going to hear from that guy Ange Postecoglou as well, and look ahead to what the next 6-7 days has in store for both Celtic and the channel. And without any faffing around, let's just go right into your comments, starting with the Irishman in New Zealand. We did actually get a lot of comments from various parts of the world yesterday, which is always pretty weird and also pretty cool. So thanks very much wherever you're watching. Thanks for getting in touch. Even if you don't get in touch, we just appreciate you watching our videos. But yes, Irishman in New Zealand, been supporting the boys for 50 years. Feels like something special is happening with this team Ange is building. Brilliant to watch, and just the whole attitude of the full squad is gearing up for some season. It's just the excitement of where the team are at the moment, but I think even more than that, it's where the team can get to. There's just so much improvement to come, both collectively and I think individually as well, and we have a manager who's going to keep raising the bar for these players, so massively exciting. And I agree that it's that something special is happening at Celtic. I think that's nothing new really. I think we've all felt it, maybe not right away from Ange coming to the club, but certainly not far in, that something special was building here. And as I say, I just think there's more to come. I think the really exciting thing about this whole journey is we don't know where the glass ceiling is for this squad and this manager. How good could we be? And there's just so much stuff to achieve, but so many big challenges ahead of us as well, both domestically and in Europe. Massively exciting. Mark Croydon, Moy was good when he came on. 100% accuracy in his 26 passes. Nothing spectacular, but showed how he can control the ball and control the play. Freed up McGregor to go forward as well. I think it was interesting, having rewatched the game, that for as good as Celtic were in the first half, I felt maybe first, 15-20 minutes of the second half before Moy came on, that we maybe weren't quite as good, and at times our passing had been a little bit ropey. But Ange has this option now to bring on a player like Aaron Moy, but not just Aaron Moy. He brings on Giakoumakis and Abada at the same time. It's almost like a second wave of Celtic attack. And I just thought from that point, when those three came on, our control of the game, that control that Ange craves in every game, came back. And I think a huge part of it was Moy. He's a funny player because he doesn't look like he's ever going to break sweat. You never actually really see him sprinting around. Now, part of that may be that so far he's come on in games that have already been out of sight. I think we've been at least a goal, maybe two up in all of the games he's come on. I think it'd be really interesting to see him starting a real high-intensity match like Sunday, for example, against Hearts, and see how he would get on there. But I think equally he doesn't look... Well, he isn't fully fit yet. He's only played, a handful of minutes so far for Celtic. So there's so much more to come from him, but I've been quite encouraged so far with just the way he seems to dictate a game. What is it they say about good players, that they make the game look easy? Is that a saying? I think it is. I've made it up anyway, but Moy makes the game look easy. But I'm intrigued to see how he'd get on from the start. But so far, so good. Next up, and I'm going to absolutely butcher this, is Piz Joystick. Taylor came in and had to replace Tierney, an almost impossible task. Ange came in and gave him a role to make his own, as different to the role KT played as you can get. This, in my opinion, has given him a freedom to his game he couldn't have if he was playing a regular attacking fullback. I think if you were looking at Greg Taylor and trying to work out what position he'd be best for without knowing anything else about him, I think arguably his attributes are better suited to centre midfielder than a left back. certainly a modern day rampaging left back. I don't think he's particularly quick, certainly not quick with the ball. He's maybe quick off the ball, but the things he does well are things that you would look for in a midfielder. You know, he can tackle, he has a real engine, he's got a bit of bite about his game, and his passing's actually much better than people give him credit for. So I think if you're looking at Greg Taylor right now, you know, blank canvas, you'd probably put him in midfield before you would put him at left back. But we've probably got the perfect scenario for him in the position he plays at the moment. And yeah, he's been brilliant. I think he works really well with Maida, who again I thought was excellent yesterday. A couple of assists he had as well. So yeah, it's hard to say anything else that hasn't been said over the last couple of weeks about Greg Taylor. You just hope that he can keep pushing, and he's going to have a manager that as I said earlier, keeps pushing him to get to even greater heights. Next up is Mark Home. John McGinley comments spot on. I'm watching the games at all hours of the night in Australia for pure enjoyment and not wanting to miss anything when the team are playing so good. The Ange era has the Martin O'Neill, Tommy Burns kind of feel to it. They just look so strong squad-wise, just need an enforcer in midfield to sort anyone out when it gets dirty. Chris D, bringing up an interesting point, 35 games unbeaten in the league, huge effort, keep going boys. I did just want to spend the next couple of minutes then just looking at our long unbeaten Premiership run, because Chris is right, it's now 35 unbeaten games in the Scottish Premiership, going all the way back to match day 6 of last season, that dire 1-0 defeat away to Livingston. So if we can navigate the next 3 matches without defeat, certainly want to win all 3, but if we go unbeaten in the next 3, that would effectively be an entire season, 38 league matches without a defeat for Celtic, which is pretty crazy when you look at where we were not so long ago. I mean, go back to that Livingston game. If you'd have said you're not going to lose any of your next 35 matches, and not just that, you're going to win 29 of those 35, just drawing 6, it's incredible. And in terms of another few records that may be in people's minds or maybe in the coming weeks and months, depending on how long this run goes on, the obvious one for Aussies connected to Ange would be 36 games unbeaten. That's the number he managed with Brisbane Roar about, a decade or so ago. That was slightly different because those were consecutive matches, whereas Celtic's run has obviously had the odd defeat in other competitions, Europa League, Scottish Cup, Conference League, for example. But in terms of the actual runs, which I think that 36-game Brisbane Roar run is still a record in terms of Australian sport, I think, not just football, could be wrong there, but we're certainly, 35, we could make 36 next week if we don't lose to Hearts. 56 was the number of league matches Ronnie Deila / Brendan Rodgers' sides managed to go unbeaten. Deila was only responsible for one of those, the first one against Motherwell. Celtic's entire unbeaten run domestically was 69 games, 56 of those in the league, so still a good bit to go for that. The Celtic team of the 1910s under Willie Maley went 62 league matches without defeat. And if you really want something to go for, a massive target to strive for, what about Steaua Bucharest's team of 1986 to 1989, who went 104 consecutive matches without defeat? An incredible run. So a long way to go. Next up is Cosimo Jota, it rhymed. Shooting from distance is a product of coaching from Harry Kewell. I've seen a few people mention this actually in the comments. Kewell was pretty famous for scoring long distance goals all the way from his early career until he hung up his boots. You'll be able to get many montages of him doing that online. And I thought I would take a look actually at where Jota's goals have come from. So what you can see there is actually his goal map. 15 goals he's scored so far for Celtic. The ones last season are all outlined in white, and the 2 he's netted so far this season competitively are outlined in yellow. And as you can see, the ones he's netted this season are in a very different area to the ones he netted last season. Now, is that just a coincidence, or is it some direction coming from the Celtic coaching team, perhaps from Harry Kewell towards Jota? Who knows? I don't actually remember Jota even attempting too many long-range efforts from similar areas to the one yesterday last season at all. So I think there's certainly something in it, and when he can strike them like he did yesterday, and even more so like he did on Flag Day against Aberdeen, it's something you certainly want to see him doing more. Next up, Mike actually wanting to talk about his favourite player, Daizen Maeda. Yes, he could be more aggressive going forward, and yes, he could be more clinical, but he does get goals and assists, and it's his work rate that makes him so important. We also have the same hairstyle. That's obviously the most important bit. Maeda is just such an underrated player for Celtic. 2 assists yesterday again. That work rate he brings you take it for granted now because you just see it all the time. But when you see him charging after players, first minute to last minute, is just such an important weapon for Celtic. And I think it's going to be really big in Europe for us as well. I think Daizen Maeda could be a really important player for Celtic in Europe. We've not really seen him so far in Europe. I know he played against Bodo Glimt and actually scored, but I'm quite excited to see him in the Champions League with that elite level pressing up against elite level opposition. There's certainly parts of his game that he can improve. Composure would be the main thing I would look at. But I mean, he didn't show bad composure for the first 2 goals yesterday. The first one especially, setting up Kyogo, lovely pass. And the second one as well, I think he kind of controls the ball and works it and then gives it to Jota to do the rest. So Maeda was excellent. And finally, Nando V, goals all over the pitch. Truly frightening stuff when we turn it on. It is frightening, but it's a good kind of frightening if you're a Celtic fan anyway. Again, I took far too much time on the next wee bit, but I thought I would take a look at the scorers for Celtic, just briefly. 5 different scorers yesterday is the first thing to mention, which is pretty cool. 15 outfielders were used yesterday, so 10 outfielders starting the match and 5 subs brought on. Of those 15, 11 were brought to the club by Ange. 14 of the 15 have scored for Ange, with Aaron Moy being the only outfielder to play for Celtic yesterday that hasn't yet scored a goal for the club, and he has played a grand total of 39 minutes, which is, I think, about as long as we were on the reaction for yesterday. And you probably wouldn't bet against Aaron Moy scoring in the next month or so if he does get more minutes on the pitch. The point here is that the days of Celtic having or relying on 4 or 5 players to score all the goals are just gone in this team. We can score from anywhere. Our fullbacks have chipped in with goals, Juranovic especially. Centre-backs are scoring every game. They have scored in every competitive game so far this season. 2 yesterday. Our centre-mids can score goals. Our wingers are obviously chipping in with goals. And then you've got the 2 best strikers in the country, without doubt, chipping in with goals basically every time they play. So yeah, it's everywhere apart from Joe Hart, and I always think that's a sign of the best teams. The best teams can hit you from effectively any area on the pitch, and Celtic have that at the moment domestically. Obviously Europe is a entirely different kettle of fish, and we'll see how that goes, but the signs are pretty good in terms of every part of the team contributing with goals, and it hasn't always been like that. I mean, I hate to go back to the dire season we had a couple of years ago, but the reliance on a player like Odsonne Edouard that season, or even the year before when we won the league, there was still a reliance, I feel, on a few players. That was very much the way under Neil Lennon, and we had success with it, but it was individuals. Whereas at the moment, yes, we've got some brilliant individuals in the team, a lot of them, but it's the collective, and that's shown by the players who are scoring. And all their teammates are so happy for them as well. The reaction yesterday from all the players when all the goals went in, the club released the unique angle footage earlier, and every single goal had virtually every player running to celebrate. And again, that's just a sign of a together team. It also helps when the Celtic support are on form, and yesterday they were. We had a new song as well to the tune of Bella Ciao, which translates as Hello Beautiful in English, and that's what I'm greeted with by you lot every day, I'm sure. It's an anti-fascist Italian folk song that became an anthem of the Italian resistance during World War II. Thanks, Wikipedia. We're not allowed to actually play it because it would cost far too much, but if you've ever seen the Netflix hit show, Spanish show, Money Heist, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You can also check it out on YouTube as well. Anyway, the Celtic lyrics are, and I'm not singing them, we're Glasgow Celtic, the best in Scotland, the only team for me and you. Do. You'll hopefully work it out from that. Ange was also very happy after the game. As always, not getting too ahead of himself, not too carried away. Never really gets too high after big wins, never really gets too low after big losses. It's all about the bigger picture with Ange and that journey. He did, however, want to chat a little bit about Carl Starfelt, who got his first goal for Celtic yesterday after 4,418 minutes of trying, which is roughly the same amount of time I actually spent trying to get that stat. Anyway, he finally got there, and this is what Ange had to say about it after the game. He has worked really hard in rehab. He was really frustrated. After such a strong season for us last year, he went away on international duty and got injured and missed pretty much all of the pre-season for us. He has worked really hard to get himself back to a position where he is available again. Credit to him, he is a really good pro. He comes in every day and works really hard in training, and he's a really strong teammate. I am really pleased for him to get a goal. He has been trying really hard. It was probably the ugliest of the five, but probably the most significant. Starfelt is clearly a popular figure amongst his teammates, as a wee Instagram screenshot shows, the likes of JJ, GT and GG all lining up to praise Starfelt after yesterday. But the real star of the show, everyone, is sitting right here. Yesterday, better late than never, we finally got the GG hat-trick that I've been promising for a long time. Now, that was for 25,000 subs. We've obviously now on that number at the time of the video going out, so we're well above 26,000. So we're going to skip 26,000 reward. What are we going to get at 27,000? I've been having a think, looking into the crystal ball, all of that kind of stuff. And it's a Carl Starfelt goal. Now, he's not scored for Celtic yet, but I am adamant that when we get to 27,000 subs, we will see that beautiful Swede joining a long list of beautiful Swedes to score for Celtic. I don't know what game it will happen. That's up to you guys and girls. It's all about how quickly we get to 27,000 subs. Remember, everyone, Carl Starfelt is scoring his first Celtic goal when we get to 27,000 subs. We are very, very near 27,000 subscribers. And we all know what that means. It's a Carl Starfelt goal. You've obviously all been holding off for the past few weeks because you didn't want Starfelt to score his first goal against Ross County in a 4-0 win, or Livingston or whatever. We all want it to be at Ibrox. I also couldn't help but notice that he nearly got his first Celtic goal yesterday. Obviously the one the keeper made a great save and Maida kind of headed in the rebound. Remember, he's getting his first goal when we get to 27,000 subs. We're about 500 away from that now, so if you want to speed that up, just give us a sub. Carol, you're playing really well at the moment. The one thing perhaps that's missing is a goal. You've not scored yet. You had a header today. Are you getting closer, do you think?
Yeah, I hope so. I've had some opportunities, like you say. It was pretty close against Livingston, for example, with a good save.
A lovely wee stroll down memory lane there. Right, in terms of the weekend results, this is what we had. A bit of a surprising win for Motherwell at Pittodrie, 3-2. Livingston beaten a struggling Hibernian 2-1. Rangers put 4 past St Johnstone. St Mirren got their first points of the season with a 1-0 win over Ross County. Ross County still pointless. And after our game yesterday, Hearts thumped Dundee United by 4-1. This is how the league table looks after 3 matches for every team. We are on top for the third Monday in a row. Next up for us is a tasty looking game there against third placed Hearts on Sunday. In terms of 67 Hail Hail, we have got a pretty interesting week lined up with a fair bit of an Aussie influence. We'll have Scott McDonald back on the channel later on in the week. We'll also be bringing you this special Ange Insights video that I was talking about last week at some stage over the week as well, and previewing the Hearts game as well as any news that may arise between now and then as well. So lots to get our teeth stuck into from tomorrow onwards. Today was just about looking back and kind of bringing you up to date with what's been said after the game at Rugby Park. We'll speak to you tomorrow.